Hey there, it's Dean from Vocal Physical Therapy, and I have got an amazing new offer for you this year. Last year I introduced the Simple Clinic Metrics form. This year we have added a column or two, and you can see on the top right here where I'm circling the completion of care. That is probably the most important metric that you can keep in your clinic, and let me tell you why. If you are having a high percentage of completion of care rate, and that would probably be over 80% for any in-network or hybrid type clinic. A little bit higher if you're cash only because of the contact that you have with the client. But the completion of care rate can show you a number of things. If it is below 80% in any type of setting, it shows that there's an incongruency, whether it be in your verbiage, whether it be in your contact with the client. Something is not getting done, because that means that less than 80% of the clients that you have come in for an initial consultation and evaluation are not completing the plan of care that you have set out for them. So many clinics have patients drop off and they don't know why, and this is a great way to keep a statistic on how many people are completing your complete plan of care, so that you know how you're doing in your communication, you know how your marketing and your sales are being congruent in what they're saying, the conversations that go on from the front office to the back office, whether you use trainers, whether you use assistants, whether you use aides, whether you use other extended staff. Conversations need to be consistent across the board, from the PT to the PTA to the trainer to the aide to the front office to the biller. Everybody focusing on the patient's internal driver and the functional goals that we set out. Lots of times we focus on the pain that people are having initially, and that's fine initially, but that is not the ultimate completion of care, because we can get people out of pain, but so can a pain pill, so can an injection. Are we getting people back to the function that they want? So anyway, the completion of care rate is ultimately important to know and to keep track of. So watch how simple this form is. Let's say you can see that this is for the first quarter, January, February, March, and complete first quarter stats here. So let's say the first week we had 20 patients scheduled every day. You can see how the columns automatically populate. It populates here, and it also populates on the last page. Let's say we had 19 patients show up, 17 patients show up, 15 patients show up, 20 patients show up, and 20 patients show up. We had 1 cancellation here, 2 cancellations and a no-show, 4 cancellations and a no-show. But here's where it gets fun. And new patients. These are obviously just made-up numbers. My front office people go in and put these in at the end of the week from our schedule, and it takes them maybe 5 minutes to do, not even 5 minutes a week. It takes less than a minute to do when you know what you're looking for. Let's say we had 3, 1, 2, 2, and 0. So what this does is automatically shows that you have a 72.7% completion of care rate for that week. Now, if you know much about completion of care rates, 1 week is not a great estimate, or is not a great indicator of where you are. You want to look at a monthly, and even more importantly, a quarterly basis, because you're going to have fluctuations. You're going to have people. You might have 10 discharges in a day and 1 new patient in a day. And if you did that, watch what would happen to your numbers. As you can imagine, I'm going to delete all these out of here. It would show that you have 1,000% completion of care rate. And if that were true, your clinic would not be open very long, because you would have a 10-to-1 ratio of people leaving compared to coming in. So that's why it is utterly important to keep this on a monthly and quarterly basis. You can see all these forms are filled out for each month already. But watch what happens. When we get to the second quarter, we simply go in here, rename this April, and it doesn't automatically populate until you put in the numbers, and I believe April 2nd is Monday, April 3rd is Tuesday, and The rest automatically populates all through that month. You can see at the end of the month, May gets filled in for the entire week, and you can go into May. You can change February to May and start here, 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, and the rest automatically populates. So the big takeaway from this form is the addition of the completion of care rate right here at the end, and all it is a function of how many new patients versus how many discharged patients. One big point is your clinic has to determine what you consider a discharged patient. You do not want to consider people who drop off and just don't come back as a discharged patient. Those are informal discharge. What we do in my clinic, these discharged patients are the ones who are officially discharged because they've met their goals, they've come in for their final visit, and we've written a formal discharge letter to the doctor. It's not one of these, Dr. Johnson, Mrs. Johnson has not been seen in 4 weeks and so forth, so therefore she's discharged. We do not count those as discharged. Those are simply drop-offs or incomplete plan of cares, and that would negatively affect the completion of care rate. And I don't care that it negatively affects it. We want honest and true numbers so that we know what's going on in our clinic and how best to move forward. And it basically reveals to us, okay, there's an issue. Patients are not completing the plan of care that we set out. What do we have to do to get that completion of care rate up? And it's not just discharge somebody when they say they're feeling better, just because they say they're feeling better. Have they met their functional goals? Are they doing the things they want to do? Have they returned to their sport? Have they returned to playing golf? Have they returned to playing with their grandkids and doing it in a functionally acceptable way? Not where they're fearing the pain, but have they obtained the goals that we set out day one and even exceeded those goals? So I hope that's clear. This form is available. I am going to be selling it for $200 until Christmas, and after that it will probably go up to $250. So if you would like your form, if you would like this metric sheet, please feel free to email me at Dean, D-E-A-N, at volkpt.com, Dean at volkpt.com. I have an order form that I will gladly send out your way, and just want to let you know that this form can be a world changer for your practice simply because the completion of care rate will reveal to you how you're doing in your communications with your patients. If this number is low, something has to get done because you can bring in all the patients you want, but if you're not getting them through completion, you're losing money. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at dean@volkpt.com. Thanks and have a great day.